Well, you have to recognize a good thing when a good thing happens, and that's exactly what happened today. The tariffs have been paused for 90 days, or at least the escalation of tariffs have been paused for 90 days. Now, does that mean that the damage hasn't been done? No. Does that mean that you're going to be getting your job back? No. It doesn't mean any of those things. Does that mean that shortages are going to stop and all of a sudden the shelves are going to be full and prices are going to go down? No. Now, the market has definitely gone up, but that doesn't mean anything to normal people like you and me. Not really. So what we need to ask ourselves, is the trade war over? No, of course it's not. It's definitely a good step in the right direction for the governments to realize, just how much damage that they've been putting on their country's economies. But at the same time, does that mean that everything's over and everything's fine and dandy? No, of course it isn't. The damage has been done, like I've said, and we're going to be dealing with that for a long time. And when we're talking about products coming back in the United States and trade continuing as it has, no. Things have changed. The corporations have adjusted. They've laid off millions of people at this point, and those people aren't getting their jobs back. If you've been laid back, you can go back to that company and you can say, hey, the tariffs are over. Can I get my job back? And they're like, no. Because what they've realized that this is a consolidation of the workforce. That's what people need to understand. This was an opportunity for corporations to trim the fat, and that's exactly what they did. They trimmed the fat. You're the fat, you're gone. They don't want you back because they realize that they can push off all that work onto the remaining employees that are still there. And though it's going to be soul crushing for those people to deal with that kind of work, the fact is they're still going to deal with it. So you, my friend, your job loss, your layoff is simply collateral damage to the sweet, sweet pursuit to profit. That's all this is. And we're assuming that the tariffs aren't going to be put back in place again in 90 days to negotiate. This doesn't mean the trade war is over. It just means that it's become more protracted now because a lot of those small businesses that have shut down, they're not going to be able to come back at this point. And the ones that are, they're still going to have to live with the kind of uncertainty of what's next. Are they going to start pouring all their savings into a project that they don't even know if it's going to pay off because the government just like that can increase the prices by 125% again? No, probably not. This has put a great pause on the economy and on people's lives. People have no incentive to start reinvesting right now. We have 90 days of uncertainty. That's all that is. Is it a good sign that negotiations are happening? Yeah, but at the same time, to a lot of people, it doesn't mean anything because their lives have either already been ruined or the things that they were about to start or continue building have to either be paused or scaled back because of the uncertainty of the market right now. So like I said, give props where props are due. I'm happy that this stuff looks like it's going in a better direction, but there has to be some kind of accountability for all the damage that's already been done. Because like we said, the main focus on the domestic side when it comes to these tariffs is that it stops people from investing into the global market or using the products in the global market to make profit in America, forcing them to use American goods, which are overpriced, expensive, and for the most part, pretty low quality. A lot of those fresh entrepreneurs who are spreading their little wings so they can fly up and try to move up a class, guess what? They're still not going to be able to do that now because of the kind of industry that many small businesses need to actually run their business in the United States. They don't produce those products domestically. So no, those small businesses aren't coming back. The damage has been done. It's going to take a long time before there's that kind of investor trust in America again, that new ventures are actually going to start building up. So yeah, you might get big businesses coming back in, and you may get some jobs through that. You want to work in a factory? Guess what? You might have a factory job. But in a year or two, when they start automating and using AI, you're going to be out again. And you're not going to be able to go start a small business because you can't afford to start one in America. And you can't rely on global products to actually be able to fill up your inventory that you can sell. So it's a real lose-lose situation for Americans in general. But at the same time, hey, it creates good headlines, right? Hey, America's winning. This is all Trump's good doing, right? No, it's none of this would have happened if it wasn't for the kind of bullheadedness that put us into this situation in the first place. Because like I said, in the end, the biggest consequence to all this is that people have lost their jobs. Millions of people have lost their jobs. And the consequences of that don't just go away because you decided to put a pause on tariffs. Those jobs aren't coming back. Your job's not coming back. You're not getting hired again. And this is all by design again. Because like I said, once these small businesses shut down, these major corporations, the big businesses that this administration really seems to be courting, they're going to swoop in and take that market share. and you might get a job with them. But now, because they control the entire market share and there's no competition, guess what? There's no incentive for them to pay you more. And because joblessness is going to be at the highest it's been in a freaking long time, good luck being able to negotiate any benefits or wages. Like I said, it's lose-lose for normal American people. Because when we're looking at the supply chain being broken, although you can put a Band-Aid on it and have supplies start coming in again, the impact of that break in the supply chain haven't even hit most of America at this point. So there's still suffering that needs to be done. And by the time the end of that 90 days happens, although you might have a brief window of resupply, what happens if the tariffs go back up again? Which honestly, they're more likely to happen at this point. Again, people are going to be froze out of participating in our economic system. Small businesses won't be able to start again. Corporations and other businesses that hire many people in America are still going to be too afraid to start hiring people again. So that creates a large population in the United States that can't find jobs. And they're not going to find jobs. And there's no social benefits to them anymore. So it's just a bunch of people who are really stuck in a bad place. So you can talk about the bright side of possible economic indicators, but extreme joblessness and unemployment in America is probably the worst economic indicator you can possibly have. Because not only are people not making money, but they're not spending. And in a consumer culture and a consumer economy like we have, that's a real death blow to it. So really the only answer to this is to stop the tariffs full stop. But that's not going to happen because pride's in it now. And there's no way that the US is going to chalk this up as a loss. No way. Pressure's still going to be on. And all this at the same time, while in the background we have India and Pakistan playing off. And that's a big reason a lot of these tariffs are going on pause in the first place. Because major war might be on the way, and China and America will probably both be involved because they have to be. Because if the war does pop off and America stays out of it, they lose the sense of military leadership that we've built over the past century. And because the war would be on China's doorstep and they're so heavily invested in the Belt and Road Initiative, there's no way that they're going to be staying out of it. So whoever would be the best negotiator and the outcome of whatever happens in that war are probably going to be the next global leaders in trade, in diplomacy, for the rest of the century. So we're not going to be staying out of it either because we don't want to lose to China. So again, see this pause for what it is. Yeah, it's a good thing, but at the same time, we've just stretched out this trade war even longer. And like I said, the consequences, they're still going to keep coming. Shortages are going to happen. More layoffs are going to happen. Bad stuff, bad stuff, bad stuff. We can smile and count it as a win, yes, but we also have to realize that, hey, this ain't the end. And the worst part about this is it's going to create more support for the administration pursuing aggressively in trade wars because it's going to be used as propaganda to prove that China's taken the knee. But that's not what it is. It's just both countries looking out for their best interests at the moment, trying to find another angle to fuck the other guy. That's what this is all about. We essentially have two global leaders right now who are stuck in a pissing contest. It's the American and Chinese people who are standing next to them getting wet. And all the war and tariffs happening at the same time that we have a looming recession and our economy is entering a phase of stagflation. It's just not looking good. It's not looking good. So again, if you thought that you're just going to get your job back because there's a pause, no, that's not going to be happening. These things are lasting now. And also when we're talking about adjustments in prices, once those prices start going up, they're not going to come back down significantly, not to where they are right now or what they were a year ago. Once the prices go up and corporations realize that you're willing to pay just this much, because at the same time that you're struggling to actually pay for the goods that are on the shelves, they're doing market research to understand what people are able to and willing to pay for. So our economy has essentially entered a new phase of economic research that's happening that allows corporations to put more pressure onto people's wallets. Yeah, so you can tell me again that the trade war is over or that this administration is really moving our economy in a good direction. But if you're actually looking at this thing in a big picture, it's not looking good at all. So what do you want really? Do you want there to continue to be tariffs? Do you want to actually be in a trade war? Do you want to be locked in a diplomatic arms race with China? Or do we just kind of just stop this shit, go back to buying global stuff, allow small businesses to grow and be able to compete with the major corporations and donors to the political class? That's something that we could do. We can participate in the global market and allow American people to at least try to thrive in this economic climate. Or we can just say, fuck them. And that's exactly what we're doing, because that's what we're all feeling right now. So anyway, thank you for the support as always. Thank you for stopping by. Always fun to give a update on what's happening in the economy right now in America, because it's real wild right now, and the consequences coming down the pipe are nuts. I think we should talk about what America is going to be looking like after this next big recession, because it's a bubble that's been building for a long time, and when it pops, it's going to be loud, and there's going to be a lot of downsides. So thanks for stopping by as always. Again, we have memberships. Join. There's going to be benefits to that. Yeah, why not? Hey, give us a little bit more money. That's always fun. At the same time, get a little bit of early access, you know, maybe do some merch, something like that. I don't know. We got plans. We'll see what happens though. So again, thanks for stopping by. I hope you guys have a great work week. If you still have a job, and if you don't, hey, maybe dust up that resume and see what's out there, or I don't know, just play some video games. But hope you guys have a good one. Take care.